Those of us who are old school fighters, whether it's judo or boxing or kickboxing, can tell you that back in the day there was this understood, unwritten rule whenever there was a sparring or randori session, and that was the no a-hole rule. So what that means is in an open sparring or open randori session, you have a variety of bodies on the mat or in the ring, and you have a variety of ability levels. And of course, you have both male and female. So it's understood you're just supposed to work with your partner and push each other, but nobody's supposed to take advantage. So for example, a brown belt in judo is not supposed to start thrashing an orange belt all over the mat just because they can. And likewise, a heavyweight 200 plus pound fighter shouldn't be trying to smash a 135 pound fighter all over the mat. Now, upon occasion, somebody would get out of pocket. Like you would see a higher rank kind of take advantage of a more beginning rank. Another sort of subset rule is that if it's martial arts, a higher ranking belt can ask a lower ranking belt to spar, and the lower ranking belt is obligated to spar with them. They can't say no, they have to say yes, but it's understood that the higher ranking belt is not supposed to take advantage of the situation. Now, the reverse is also true. A lower ranking belt can ask a higher ranking belt, but the higher ranking belt can turn that down. Now, unfortunately, all of these sort of unwritten rules or understandings have seemed to have gone a little bit by the wayside in some situations, in some gyms or dojos. And I blame what we now call, I guess, our woke attitude for this falling apart. So in the past, if somebody got out of pocket, there would be somebody on the mat or maybe in the ring, in the boxing gym, who would act as an enforcer, because it would be understood everybody in the arena would be on the same exact wavelength. Like, wait a second, this is getting out of hand. This person should not be doing what they're doing right now. So somebody would voluntarily step forth to be the enforcer and dish out a lesson to the person who's violating. And the enforcer is not always the biggest, baddest person on the mat. I've seen very quiet-spoken people adopt that role just because it's out of respect for the game. They know that it falls upon them to make sure that this hierarchy, this structure, this understanding doesn't fall apart. Because as soon as you have people taking advantage of other people in a sparring or randori session, the whole session's just going to fall apart. Nobody's going to get anything productive out of it. It's going to be a lot of attitude and ego. And quite frankly, one person taking advantage of another just undermines the whole spirit of why we're coming together to practice. So the enforcer doesn't have to be, like I said, a mean bully, but they understand this is the role they need to play at this moment. And they step forward and do it. And hopefully that individual puts two and two together and figures out the lesson. But fast forward to present times, now nobody wants to be the enforcer, right? Because we're not allowed to be mean to other people. We can't crush their dreams, so to speak. We have to allow certain people to sort of live out their little fantasies, because they're going to be the next Floyd Mayweather, or they're going to go fight in the UFC next year. Now, if we're not going to enforce respect for the game, then eventually this whole thing will fall apart, because one, people will get injured unnecessarily, and furthermore, the type of person who has that sort of bully mentality of wanting to take advantage of somebody during an open sparring session, just simply because they can, not because they're actually better skill-wise, that person's not going anywhere. They're not going to advance further in the fight game, because that type of mentality isn't going to get them anywhere. In a martial arts scenario, it's a little bit easier to figure out who should be the enforcer, so to speak, because typically it's not the head instructor. They're there to instruct. It should be their second or third in command, meaning their other black belts or high-level brown belts. But part of the problem is we've decided that hierarchy is bad, right? But in a martial arts situation where people are doing things that could potentially hurt each other, you've got to have some type of structure to keep each level of individual in check. So it just goes right on down rank order, right? Yellow belts keep white belts in check, orange belts keep yellow belts in check, and so on and so forth, all the way up to the brown belts keeping the blue belts in check. But it's definitely not the job of the head instructor, because their focus should be solely on instructing. So hey, old school martial artists, old school fighters, let me know, have you noticed a change in your gym? What do you think we can do to remedy this situation? Let me know in the comments.